All right, it looks like we have a good number of people on, so we can get started. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. I'm really excited to be here with you. My name is Jobe, and I work with the support team here at Savi. And I'm really excited to talk to you a little bit about student loans and how using Savi can help make managing them even easier. During today's webinar, we are going to cover a lot of content. First, we'll go over an introduction as to who Savi is and what we can do to help you. After that, we're going to jump into understanding federal student loans and cover all the basics you need to know for everything that you will work with your student loans with Savi. And then we'll spend the bulk of our time talking about some major policy and program updates that are benefiting borrowers. After that, we'll wrap up with how you can get started with Savi and go over a brief account overview. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A, and I can answer some as we move through. And time permitting, we can answer some at the end as well. So first up, who is Savi? Savi is a public benefit corporation, and we started about 5 years ago in order to help borrowers just like you. In 2017, when we started, that was the first year that borrowers were able to apply for public service loan forgiveness, and less than 1% of applicants were accepted. Our two founders noticed that was an alarming rate of denials, and we started to help more borrowers meet the requirements and successfully apply to receive public service loan forgiveness. We are run by experts and advocates that have over 2 decades of experience, and many of us also have student loans of our own, so we have that firsthand knowledge that helps us to help you. And last, we're focused on savings. We help you find savings through income-driven repayment plans, as well as public service loan forgiveness. If this is your first time ever hearing about any of these programs, don't worry. We're going to cover them all in more detail on some upcoming slides. So that's who Savi is, but what is Savi? So here at Savi, we can help you see personalized repayment and forgiveness options. After you enter your information into our application, we're going to show you everything that you qualify for so that you can enroll in those programs. We'll also monitor for new programs and policy changes. So we're going to keep up with everything as it's changing and let you know if a new program is announced that could benefit you so that you can enroll and take advantage of it. We also help with the yearly recertification of repayment and forgiveness plans. So in the programs that I'll discuss, there are some forms and deadlines you need to meet every year to stay enrolled. Savi will remind you when it's time to apply so that you never miss a deadline and can stay on track for forgiveness. Another big benefit is that we can help you sign and submit paperwork digitally. So no more printing out forms, tracking down employers, figuring out how to fax things. Any applications you work on, Savi can create digitally and submit to your servicer to make that process as easy as possible. And last, you can receive personalized support from student loan experts such as myself. Anytime you have questions about programs or want to talk about options available to you, you can reach out to our support team, and we'd be more than happy to discuss them with you so that you can make informed decisions about your loans. So that's who Savi is. Let's now talk about all of the basics with federal loans. In this section, we will cover student loan servicers, the different types of loans that are available, and then we'll talk about the 2 main programs that we help with, which are income-driven repayment plans and public service loan forgiveness. So first up, federal loan servicers. A loan servicer is, for most people, your first point of contact when working with your student loans. These are the people that manage your loans on a day-to-day basis, and they're the ones that you make your monthly student loan payments to. There are several different loan servicers, and they all service the loans on behalf of the federal government. Some popular ones you can see here are Great Lakes, Nelnet, Ed Financial, and one of the biggest ones that we work with is Mohila. For public service loan forgiveness, there's only one servicer that manages that program, which is Mohila. So if you are going to pursue public service loan forgiveness, we'll help you submit your applications directly to Mohila, and they would become your new loan servicer once you start working on public service loan forgiveness. During the payment pause, nearly 16 million student loan borrowers have received a new student loan servicer. So we always encourage you to log into your student aid account, which is studentaid.gov, to confirm who your loan servicer is. You can check to see where your loans currently are, as well as update your contact information so that your loan servicer can always get in contact with you to notify you about when your payment is due, when the payment pause will be ending, as well as just all of the day-to-day handling of your student loans. We also like to clarify that Savi is not a loan servicer. So we work with you and your student loan servicer to help find the best options for you. So let's talk a little bit about the different types of student loans that are available. In general, it can be broken down into two categories, a federal student loan or a private student loan. Here at Savi, we work only with your federal student loans. So let's talk about the different types of federal student loans that there are, because there are several. The most popular type of federal student loan right now is a direct loan. This is the loan program that started in 2010. So any loans made after 2010 are going to be a direct loan. That does include consolidation loans. So if you had older loans that you consolidated after 2010, those would be considered a direct consolidation loan. The direct loans are the type of loans that you need to be eligible for programs like income-driven repayment, as well as public service loan forgiveness. So for those two specific programs, only direct loans are going to count. If you have a different type of loan, you'll need to take some action on that to get it to a direct loan so that you can qualify. Some more examples of a direct loan include a direct subsidized or direct unsubsidized loan. The second type of federal loan that's offered is an FFEL loan, which we call FEL loans. These were the types of loans that were offered before the direct loan program started in 2010. So if you got a student loan from before 2010, it was likely a FEL loan. If you have a FEL loan, you can repay it on an income-driven plan. However, there's only one plan that it counts for, which is the IVR plan. If you have the FEL loan and you want to make it eligible for all of the income-driven plans, as well as public service loan forgiveness, you need to consolidate it to convert it to a direct loan. Once you consolidate and the loan type is now a direct loan, it would then be eligible for income-driven and public service loan forgiveness. Just like with direct loans, some examples include FEL subsidized or FEL unsubsidized loans. The last types of federal student loans that we'll talk about are PLUS loans, and there's two types of these. First is a Parent PLUS loan. So for a Parent PLUS loan, this is a loan that you took out on behalf of your child to go to school. The loan is in your name, and you are responsible for paying it back. If you want to make a Parent PLUS loan eligible for an income-driven repayment plan or for public service loan forgiveness, it needs to be consolidated into a direct loan, just like FEL loans. Parent PLUS loans in their current form are not eligible for public service loan forgiveness or for income-driven repayment. They need to be consolidated to a direct loan in order to count. The other type of PLUS loan is a Grad PLUS loan. That is a loan that you took out for yourself to pay for your own graduate or professional program. Unlike with Parent PLUS loans, grad loans do qualify for income-driven repayment and for public service loan forgiveness in their current form. So just to recap, Grad PLUS loans are fine the way they are. Parent PLUS loans do need to be consolidated to a direct loan. So that covers all of the federal loan types that we'll work with here. Another type of loan you may have is a private student loan. And these are non-federal loans made by lenders like banks, credit unions, and sometimes even state agencies or schools. If you have a private loan, unfortunately, it is not eligible for any of the repayment or forgiveness programs that we discussed. There's no way to make a private loan into a federal loan. So if you do have a private loan, unfortunately, it won't be eligible for these programs now or in the future. Some more examples of places you could get a private loan are places like Wells Fargo, SoFi, or Discover. So the big takeaway from this page is that the goal is to have direct loans. If you have direct loans already, you're good to go for the programs that we'll discuss. If you have FEL loans or Parent PLUS loans, those will need to be consolidated into a direct loan so that you too can be eligible for all of those programs. So let's talk about some of those programs. First, let's talk about income-driven repayment plans. There are 4 primary income-driven repayment plans. The Repay Plan, the Pay Plan, the IVR Plan, and the ICR. They all have very similar names, and I myself mix them up sometimes, but each of those plans has different criteria as to who is eligible, and they calculate your payment a little bit differently. No matter which of those 4 plans you enroll in, though, it will be based on your income and family size. In general, payments will be capped at 10 to 20% of your discretionary income, depending on which of those 4 plans you enroll in. So, for example, the pay plan is only 10% versus the ICR in some cases can go up to 20%. So, for example, if you are single, you have no dependents, and your income is around $52,000, you could expect to see a monthly payment of $270 on an income-driven plan. One really big benefit of income-driven repayment plans is that you're eligible to have the remaining balance forgiven after 20 to 25 years. So the way it works is you enroll in an income-driven plan, depending on which of those plans you're in. After you've made payments on your loans for 20 to 25 years, whatever balance you have left can be forgiven. The great thing is that that forgiveness would be tax-free through 2025. So if you hit that threshold between now and 2025, your balance will be forgiven tax-free. If you hit that threshold after 2025, whatever amount you have forgiven will be considered taxable income. When you're enrolled in an income-driven repayment plan, you are required to recertify your income each year in order to maintain your eligibility. You have to do this each year. That way they can update your income and make sure that your payment always stays at that 10 to 20% range so that you're never paying more than you can afford and that it always stays at that correct percentage. You can submit that form online or call your loan servicer. And we recommend keeping your records. That way you know when your date is and you'll know when to turn those forms back in again. So as I said, there are currently 4 different income-driven repayment plans offered. But coming soon, the Department of Education has announced that they intend to create a new income-driven repayment plan that will cap your monthly payments at 5% of your discretionary income. So that's, for some borrowers, having their monthly payment cut in half. We're still waiting on some details to come out about who exactly will be eligible and when this will be available. So as soon as we know more, we will be sure to update you so that you can enroll and take advantage of it if you qualify. So we've covered income-driven repayment. Now let's talk about the main forgiveness program we help borrowers apply for, which is public service loan forgiveness. In general, to qualify for this program, you need to meet 3 main requirements. The first requirement is that you need to work for a qualifying employer. A qualifying employer is a government organization at any level, so federal, state, local, or tribal. If you don't work for a government organization, you can also work for a not-for-profit 501c3. It's important to note that you do need to work at least 30 hours per week. As for PSLF, you do need to be working full-time. Their definition of full-time is 30 hours. If you're working below 30 hours and you're working part-time, you can combine multiple part-time employment to qualify. So say you work 15 hours at one employer, 15 hours at another. You can combine those to hit that 30-hour threshold and have it count towards public service loan forgiveness. But it's important to note, though, if you are combining employment to meet the requirement, all your employers need to be eligible. So you would need to work at 2 employers that meet the qualifying employer requirement. Once you have that first requirement down, you're working in public service, you then need to have the correct qualifying loan type. So as you saw a couple slides back on that loan types page, only direct federal loans qualify for this program. If you have non-direct federal loans like a FFEL loan or a Parent Plus loan, it needs to be consolidated so that it converts to direct and is then eligible for the program. After that, the last requirement is that you need to pay your loans on a qualifying repayment plan. So for public service loan forgiveness, the required repayment plan is an income-driven repayment plan. As long as you enroll in one of those 4 plans, your payments could count towards public service loan forgiveness. You do need to make sure that you make the payment on time for the full monthly amount, though. So those are the big 3: qualifying employer, qualifying loans, and qualifying repayment plan. Once you hit all 3 of those requirements, Now you need to start making your payments. You need to make 120 payments that meets all 3 of those requirements to receive forgiveness under this program. So each payment needs to be made while working in public service, while you have a direct loan, and while enrolled in an income-driven plan. After you make those 120 payments that meet all the criteria, your entire remaining balance will be forgiven. So whether it's $1,000 or $100,000, whatever balance you have left will be forgiven. Unlike with income-driven repayment forgiveness, PSLF forgiveness is not taxed at the federal level ever. So back in 2020, a bill was passed that made PSLF tax forgiveness indefinitely. So whether you receive this forgiveness now or 10 years from now, that is not going to be taxed at the federal level. So that's a really big benefit for borrowers to pursue this program. Another benefit is that payments don't need to be consecutive, just cumulative. So you don't have to worry about always making a payment every single month. It's a cumulative number. So once you hit a total number of 120, then your loans could be forgiven. So for example, say you've made 60 payments, but something happens and you put your loans into a forbearance for a year. Once you pick up and start paying again, you'll continue at that 60 so you can continue your progress. Because the payments don't have to be consecutive, it could take longer than 10 years to gain those 120 credits that you need. But the kind of converse of that is you can't make extra payments to qualify sooner. So even though it could take longer than 10 years, at a minimum, it will be 10 years until you can qualify. You cannot make extra payments to qualify early. So only 1 payment per month will be counted for a maximum of 12 payments per year. So how do you apply for this program? There's only one application for public service loan forgiveness, and it's called an employment certification form. The way this form works is that you take your form to your employer, and your employer signs to verify your employment that you work in public service. Once you get that form signed, you submit it to MOHELA. They count up all the payments you made at that employer and add them to your total. If you have multiple employers that you've worked at, you'll need to submit one form for each employer, because otherwise you're going to miss out on some payments. Once you submit your initial round of employment certification forms, they'll let you know exactly how many payments you have and exactly how many you still need to reach that 120. Savi recommends that you submit your employment certification forms every 12 months until you reach the 120, because while you can wait until the end of your 10 years, it'll leave you tracking down your employers from 10 years ago, and it's more likely that something may be missed. If you submit a form once per year, it allows you to track your progress, get credit for 12 payments at a time, and know exactly where you stand and what is still needed to reach that 120 and get that forgiveness. So that's the basics. We talked about servicers, loan types, as well as the 2 programs we help apply for: income-driven and public service loan forgiveness. So now let's talk a little bit about some major policy and program updates that are affecting all of those programs. In this section, we'll talk about improvements to PSLF, some account adjustments that will be made later this year, and then we'll talk about some relief plans you may have heard about in the news. Then we'll wrap it all up with kind of the summary of important dates you need to know. So first up, let's talk about some improvements to the public service loan forgiveness program. As you know, we are in the payment pause right now. Payments have been paused since March of 2020. And normally you need to make a payment in order for it to count towards public service loan forgiveness. However, because the payment pause is kind of a special situation, time during the payment pause will count towards public service loan forgiveness. This is a huge beneficial opportunity for borrowers, because for every month that payments were paused and you were still working in public service, you can count that month as a qualifying payment. So this means by the time payments resume, you have the potential to receive over 40 free PSLF credits towards the 120 that you need. So that's almost a third of the way without you having to pay a dime. It's really great because from the way public service loan forgiveness is set up, you have to make a payment to get a credit, and when you make a payment, your balance reduces. but being able to count these months without making a payment lets you get more forgiven down at the end of the road. So we highly encourage you to take advantage of the payment pause if you qualify, because you can count that month without making a payment to receive even more forgiveness. Coming up later this year in July, some lasting improvements are going to be made to the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. So you may have heard about the limited PSLF waiver. That was a temporary opportunity that expanded requirements to let you get credit for more payments, but it was temporary and it ended on October 31st. The Department of Education is working on extending those benefits and making them permanent. This will help reduce barriers that have made it harder for borrowers to make progress. So in particular, there's two main things that they're going to focus on. First, they want to help borrowers earn progress towards PSLF. So you can get credit for a payment if it was late, if it was an installment, or if it was a lump sum payment. Another big benefit is they will count forbearance and deferment periods towards PSLF for specific situations. And you can receive a weighted average of existing payments on new consolidation loans. So in the past, when you consolidated, your payments started over at zero, but now moving forward, they're going to let you get a weighted average of your payments on your consolidated loans so that you don't lose your progress. The other thing they're going to do is to simplify the criteria when certifying employment. So they're going to apply a standard of full-time employment, which is 30 hours per week. So as long as you work 30 hours per week, you'll be considered full-time and can count that towards public service loan forgiveness. They'll also allow adjunct faculty to multiply credit hours by 3.35. That way they can get closer to that 30-hour threshold. And they'll allow contract workers to certify employment as well. So under the current guidelines, if you are a contract worker, you can't qualify for public service loan forgiveness. But under these upcoming changes, you would be able to certify that employment to get credit for payments you've made. Someone asks a really great question I see that says, do you currently have to be working at a government agency or a nonprofit? So if you are not working for a government agency or a not-for-profit right now, you wouldn't be earning any credits towards that 120 that you need. If you ever do return to working in public service, you'll pick up at whatever payment count you already have and then go from there until you reach the 120. It is important to note, though, that at the time of applying and receiving forgiveness, you do need to be working for a qualifying employer. So if you've made your 120 payments and you're ready to receive forgiveness, you need to be working full-time whenever you apply and whenever you get the forgiveness in order for it to go through. So I mentioned some account adjustments. So later this year, in April of 2022, the Department of Education announced that they were going to make some one-time improvements to address some long-standing problems borrowers have faced. So the Department of Education is aware that in the past, working with your student loans hasn't always been the easiest situation. They are going to make account adjustments that will help you get credit for more past payments and count those towards forgiveness programs so that you can achieve financial freedom. In order to take advantage of these account adjustments, you have to have direct loans or FFEL loans that are managed by the Department of Education. So for some small groups of borrowers, you may have older loans that are federal loans, but aren't currently managed by the Department of Education. If that's the case, and you don't have those direct loans already, you need to consolidate by May 1st to get the credit for the account adjustment. If you want to count that towards PSLF, you'll also need to have overlapping qualifying employment for the periods that they're going to adjust. So what do those adjustments look like? They are going to go back in automatically, look at your account, and give you credit for certain periods of time. So first up, any month that you were in repayment, whether you made that payment on time, for the full amount, whatever your loan type was, whatever your repayment plan was, as long as you were in repayment, they're going to count that towards IDR forgiveness and public service loan forgiveness. They're also going to count any month in which loans were in repayment, deferment, or forbearance prior to consolidation. So as I said, under the old rules, when you consolidated, your payments started over. But under this account adjustment, if you consolidate by May 1st, you'll be able to count all the payments made before consolidating. They're also going to look at the time that you were in forbearance. So if you were in forbearance for more than 12 consecutive months, they'll count that as in repayment to give you credit for 12 credit payments. When it comes to cumulative months, if you were in forbearance for more than 36 total months, they're going to count all 36 of those months as being in repayment as well, so that you can have those added towards your progress for IDR, forgiveness, or PSLF. And finally, for deferment, they are going to look back and count any time that you were in deferment before 2013, as long as it wasn't an in-school deferment. So if you had a financial hardship, a medical treatment deferment, those deferments before 2013 can also be counted as in repayment. So it's a little tricky, but what does this look like and what does this all mean? So the department is going to look back at all of these specific periods where a payment may not have counted before. If that month meets these new criteria, they'll count that month as you being in repayment so that it could count towards the 20 to 25 year repayment you need for IDR forgiveness, or so that it could count towards the 120 payments you need to get PSLF forgiveness. So this one-time account adjustment is designed to go back, kind of right the wrongs, get everybody back on track so that moving forward, you're able to get credit for as many payments as possible and get that forgiveness as soon as possible as well. Something you may have heard about in the news recently was President Biden's loan debt relief plan. Under this plan, President Biden announced that eligible borrowers would be able to receive loan cancellation of up to $20,000 if they had a federal Pell Grant. If you didn't have a Pell Grant, you could receive up to $10,000 in cancellation. This was a brand new program announced by President Biden last year, but unfortunately, this plan is currently paused due to ongoing lawsuits. The Supreme Court will be hearing arguments about this program this month to determine if this program can proceed and be implemented. As of November 11th, the Department of Education is no longer accepting applications. If you already applied for this program, they're going to hold your application and you don't need to reapply. Some borrowers may even receive an email letting you know that you've been approved, but because of the lawsuits, they aren't able to give out the cancellation just yet. Once the Supreme Court reaches a decision, if the program continues, the application portal will reopen and you'll still have time to apply. So don't worry if you haven't applied yet. We also like to clarify at this part that this is a brand new program completely separate from public service loan forgiveness. Public service loan forgiveness is still operating full steam ahead. Borrowers are still receiving forgiveness under that program, and the lawsuits do not affect PSLF in any way. This is just in regards to that new debt cancellation program from President Biden. Because of the ongoing lawsuits, the payment pause has also been extended. In the past, the payment pause was always extended through a specific date, but this time, the payment pause was tied to the debt relief program. So payments are going to be paused until the program can proceed. If no decision has been made by June 30th, payments will resume at that point. So it's a little bit up in the air as to when payments could resume this time. If a decision comes out before June 30th, payments will resume 60 days after that. If no decision has been made by June 30th, payments will be 60 days after that. So no matter when payments resume, there is that 60-day window that will allow borrowers to prepare and get ready for payments to resume. Borrowers are going to be notified by the Department of Education, and Savi will also notify all of our users so that you can know exactly when the payment pause is resuming and be prepared whenever it's time to make a payment again. So to recap, here are some important upcoming dates that you need to know to be prepared for whenever all of these changes are going to go into effect. So on February 28th, the Supreme Court will begin hearing oral arguments on that new debt relief plan from President Biden. On May 1st, that is the deadline to consolidate your loans to receive the benefits of that one-time account adjustment. So where they go back, look at your past payments and give you credit for those ones that now qualify. If you don't have the correct loan types, you need to consolidate by May 1st in order to take advantage of all those changes. In May of 2023, we also expect a decision from the Supreme Court on President Biden's debt relief plan. If no decision is made and the litigation is not resolved by June 30th, payments will resume 60 days after that. In July, that's when that one-time account adjustment for IDR and PSLF will take effect. So as long as you consolidate it and have the correct loan types, they're going to do that adjustment in July to give you credit for those past payments. And then in September, that is the latest potential date for payments to resume. So if no decision is released before June 30th, 60 days after that would be September, and that's when payments would start resuming. So these are kind of the important dates that you need to know. There's a lot going on in the student loan world, a lot of new exciting changes coming soon. Savi will be sure to continue to monitor everything to keep you in the loop so that you can take advantage of all of these changes. Someone says that they were previously enrolled in the payment pause, but that it's now ended. I encourage you to check with your loan servicer and check also with Savi to see if you qualify for the payment pause. In general, anyone with direct loans or FFEL loans that are managed by the Department of Education is eligible for the payment pause. There is a small group of borrowers that have older loans that are still federal but not managed by the Department of Education that aren't eligible. So if you want to take advantage of the payment pause and you're not already enrolled in it, you can check with your loan servicer or Savi to make sure that you can consolidate, get the correct type of loans, and be able to take advantage of the payment pause. Alrighty, if you have any more questions, feel free to keep dropping those in the Q&A as we move on. And with that, let's talk a little bit more just about the Savi features and how we can help you make sense of all of that. So I showed this slide already, but it's still helpful to recap here now that you can see all of the programs I've talked about. So again, here's everything we can help you with. You can see personalized repayment and forgiveness options. So we'll show you all the income-driven repayment plans that you qualify for. We'll show you all of the PSLF progress you've made and let you know exactly what options are available. As you saw, there was a lot of program updates and policy changes, and even more to come still. Savi is going to monitor all of those for you, let you know when new changes are announced, so you can always stay in the loop. As you saw, you need to recertify your income once a year and recertify your employment whenever you're enrolled in an IDR and pursuing PSLF. Savi will help you turn those forms in every year so that you never miss the deadline and stay on track. We also are going to help you submit your IDR application, and we can help submit your ECFs for you too. So when you apply for public service loan forgiveness, we can help you get that form signed by your employer, and we'll take care of submitting it to MOHELA for you to make that process as easy as possible. And you'll still be able to receive that personalized support from student loan experts to help you discuss IDR plans, PSLF, maybe the fate of the debt cancellation program. Anytime you have questions, you can reach out to us so that we can answer them for you and help you make those informed decisions. So how do you get started with Savi? If you are brand new to Savi and you've never used our website, you should receive a link in your email with instructions on accessing your account. If you're brand new to Savi and you get that email, we have created an account for you. All you need to do is reset the password to access it. If you've already made a Savi account and you're one of our returning users, you can log back in at buysavi.com to access your account again. So now we'll talk a little bit about what the Savi application looks like for those of you that may be new or unsure of how to complete our application. Once you've access to your Savi account, this is our main dashboard. Here is where you'll be able to see all of the information for everything you're working on with Savi in one convenient spot. On our dashboard, you'll also be able to see announcements, letting you know about things going on in the student loan world or even upcoming webinars like this one. If you see an announcement for an upcoming webinar, you can register to attend just like this one to get your questions answered in real time. We host these pretty regularly, and we're working on improving them, making more available for you. So I encourage you all to keep an eye on that announcements. That way you can stay in the loop about some of our upcoming exciting webinars. You'll also have the option to invite friends and family. So if there's anyone you know that you think could benefit from Savi, you can enter their email here, send them an invite. They can sign up as well to get help with their student loans. Also on the Savi dashboard, you'll be able to select a plan. So we do offer several different types of plans for our users. Our most popular plan is our Essential plan. This is a plan that allows us to automate the forms for you, allows you to access your application and get them submitted for you. It lets you get access to support. It's our most popular plan because it's the plan that makes it the easiest. You can take a look at the plan page to see all of the plans Savi offers, find the one that's the best fit for you, and enroll. So that covers all of the information on the dashboard. Let's now take a quick look at what our application looks like so that you can understand what we'll need from you to get those estimates. The first thing that we're going to ask for is family information. So because income-driven repayment plans are affected by your family size, we need this information so that we can get those estimates as accurate as possible. We'll ask where you live, what your tax status is, your marital status, and how many dependents you have, because that's all information that affects your monthly payment on an income-driven plan. Once you've entered all your information, you'll be able to click the next button to go to the next page. Then we'll ask for some income information. We will ask how much you currently pay for your loans. We'll ask if your income has changed, and then we'll ask what your income is. For most people, if your income has not changed since you last filed taxes, we'll ask what your adjusted gross income is from your most recent tax return. If your income has changed, our system will let you know where to look to find that income information, whether it be a pay stub indicating that you are not having any income right now. Whatever the situation is, our application will tell you exactly what we need from you. After that, you'll be brought to the employment page. On the employment page, you'll be able to enter in all of your current and past employers to see if they qualify for public service loan forgiveness. We really encourage you to add in all of your current and past employment. That way you can see if they qualify and nothing gets missed. As I explained about how to apply for public service loan forgiveness, you apply by submitting an employment certification form, and you need to do that for all current and past employers to get credit for the payments you made while working there. If you don't submit a form for an employer, you won't get credit for payments you made while working there. Adding all of your employers on this page lets us make sure we can create forms for all of them. You'll just click the Add Employer button, and you can search through our database to see if we already have information about their status. We have over 1 million employers in our database, so the easiest way is to search, see if they're there, and add them to your application. If by chance we don't have info about them yet, you can still add them on here and answer a few more questions to determine if they are a qualifying employer. Once you've added in all of your current and past employment, you can then go to the next page to enter your loan information. I think the loan page is one of the most important pages of the Savi application because this is the page that lets us see the types of loans you have and know exactly what's going on with your situation. The easiest way to add your loans is to use Plaid to sign in with the same username and password as your online servicer. Once you do this, we're going to pull in your loans automatically, pre-fill all of the information. That way we can see your repayment history, see your loan types, and everything we need to know to get you those estimates. If you don't have an online servicer's account, we do have some backup options for you where you can add them manually or upload something called a student loan data file, which is a record of your loans from the Department of Education. Adding your loans on this page is really important because it lets us confirm that you have the correct loan types for the programs we help you apply for. So if you have older loans like FFEL loans and you don't have a direct loans just yet, we'll let you know on this page that they need to be consolidated, and then we'll be able to walk you through those steps. We are also able to see your repayment history to get an idea of how many payments you have towards forgiveness and how many you still need to reach that 120. Adding your loans on this page does not take any action on them yet. It just takes a snapshot of them so that we're able to get you those estimates. Nothing is going to change yet, and it's completely harmless to add your loans here. It just lets us take a look at what's going on. After you've entered all of your information into the application, you'll then see the plan options. On this page, we will show you exactly what is available to you. So our application will pop up with the plan that can give you the lowest monthly payment to get you the most forgiveness. You'll be able to see exactly what your monthly payment would be by enrolling in that income-driven plan. You'll also see how far along you are towards forgiveness and how much you can receive in forgiveness by enrolling in that plan. If you want to see more information such as how it's calculated, you can always click Show Plan Details. And if you wanted to see all the options available to you, you can click Show More Plans to see every income-driven plan that you qualify for. If you need to consolidate, this page will let you know that you need to consolidate before you can enroll in the plans. If you need to take any other action on your loans, this page is going to show you what your next step is to get enrolled in those programs. Once you find the plan that's the best fit for you, you can click the blue Continue button to get to the next page. This is where the Essential membership really shines and can be a beneficial part of working with Savi. So if you enroll in our Essential membership, we will be able to create forms for you digitally and help get them submitted. On the left, you can see what it looks like whenever you are creating your employment certification forms. You'll be able to see all of the employers that you entered on this page, and then you'll have the option to create a form for them. If you picked an employer from our system, there's a good chance we may have contact info for them already. If we don't have contact info for them just yet, you can enter who we should send your form to, and then from there, we will take over getting it to them, getting it signed, and getting it submitted. On the right, you can see what it looks like when you're enrolling in an income-driven repayment plan. The number one reason that repayment plan applications, as well as any applications, are denied is because they are filled out incorrectly. Using Savi lets you confirm that your form is filled out correctly and has the best chances of being accepted. We pre-fill all of the information for you. That way you never have to worry about something being completed wrong. All you need to do is add that last bit of info, upload your proof of income, sign, and we will submit it to your loan servicer. Once you have created your applications, back on the dashboard, you'll be able to track the status of each one in detail. For your employment certification forms, you can see exactly what step they're on, whether your employer has signed yet, whether it's been submitted to Mohila, and if it's been processed by them. You'll also be able to track the status of your income-driven repayment plan to know whether you've signed and submitted, if it's processing with your loan servicer, and you can look at all your applications to know exactly where you stand and what steps are still needed from you to get them to 100%. As you work through our application, I'm sure you're going to have some questions, and we are here to help. Anyone is able to consult our help center, which includes detailed articles on common student loan topics, frequently asked questions, and even how-to videos that walk you through our application. If you're an Essential member, you're able to reach out to support to get that personalized support to help you understand options and answer whatever questions you have. And with that, that is all the content that I have for you today. Thanks so much for